The following show is a paid program.
Hey family, how you doing today? We are with the best of the best Step Rideau National Recording Zydeco artist. Man, I'm telling you, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Glad to be here.
Everybody has been asking about the man.
Oh, really?
Mr. Zydeco.
Yeah, and I've been asking about them. You know, through all this COVID, I was like, missing all your friends.
Exactly, missing all your friends.
Yeah.
We actually shut down the end of February, beginning of March. The world shut down.
Yes, sir. We did
And
too.
just looking at just all music, all business, everything shut down during that time. Let's get started of how you started in the business.
Well, I started, I was always raised around music, born and raised Southwest Louisiana, LeBeau, Louisiana, my hometown. And around there, we've always listened to Zydeco music, R&B, you know, old school blues and stuff like that. And it was and gospel. It was always around the home.
Yeah.
And so I was, you know, around the music all my life. So and it was later when I became an adult, and that's when I started to thinking that, hey, I want to play this, do this, you know, see how it works out, and end up, you know, my person that inspired me was Boozoo Chavis. Magic Sounds out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. And I would go to the Zydeco dances and I would see him playing, and he just made it look like, you know, the name of his band was Magic Sounds. He made it look like magic. I mean, like, and man, I was just thrilled. And so I said, I want to try this. And started out on a little accordion. Learned a few notes. It took me a while. When I finally understood what was going on, I'm like, oh, okay. End up learning half of one of his songs, and I'm like, oh, I think I can do it. Yeah. And I've always been that hands-on type of person, you know, kind of fix any kind of thing, you know. My first skill was an automotive mechanic by trade. So I was kind of inclined already on, you know, the mechanics of a lot of things. So and taught myself to learn to play it. I said, well, if I learn to play this thing, I'm gonna go get the real deal and get me a real professional one. You know? So that's what I did. It all
self-taught.
Self-taught, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You self-taught yourself the accordion.
Yeah, it was like probably June. It was June when I put in the order to have my first accordion made out of Louisiana. It was the French accordion. And they're handmade.
They're handmade.
Handmade, yeah, handmade. And
the smaller ones.
That's the smaller one. It's called the Cajun accordion. So I had that one made and start, you know, practicing, learning more, and then I would go around, and some musicians around town they was hearing about me and they say, "Man, come sit in," you know. And when they would let me sit in, play a couple songs, and next thing you know, the crowd was like, "Oh, we like the way you play. We like to play." And it kind of took off from there, and I formed my band. And by October, I was doing my first show with my own band.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been about a 6-month span.
So going back a little bit, and we were just talking about this earlier. You did automotive first.
Yeah.
That was your first thing.
Yeah. Well, before that was, you know, working in the fields.
Exactly.
You know, it was farmers. My parents were farmers, grandparents, and
300 acres, you were telling me.
Yeah, we were farming 300 acres with soybeans and corn.
Wow.
And raising cattle. Anything you think about on the farm, hogs. Chickens, gardens, you know, you name it. You know, the country living. You know, So that's what I was doing, man. And you know,
you've worked all your life.
Yeah, all my life. Yeah. This is about the easiest I've had it.
As we were talking, you were saying you were getting, you know, when you would go to school, you'd get right off the bus. You already had to go out to the fields and start working on the tractor. You and your brothers and sisters.
Yep. We would ride one school bus to go to school. And if we were working in a field on the other end of town, which is the Rideau settlement, is the original founding place with my family. And we would get off to catch the other bus at school and get off there. Me and my brother would get off there, and we would go straight to the field, get to farming. You know, farming is if the sun's shining and it's dry, you're gonna be working. Sun up, sun down, you know.
Right.
So yeah, and that's, you know, that was it, man. And the end of the night, when dark comes, my mom or dad come pick us up,
Right.
and go home, do your homework, get up the next morning, do it
Right.
again.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Yeah.
And that was a constant basis all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
That was
and
constant.
and my dad was a real successful farmer for quite a while until in the late '80s. Things got real bad for farming, like
Right.
it kind of is right now.
Uh-huh.
And they decided to get out of the business, which they still, you know, they own a lot of the land,
Wow.
and we just started raising cattle full time on it.
Right.
Yep.
So let's and then we're going to move up to the 80s. Right in the 80s, you were still working at this time.
Yeah, when I came out of high school, I got my trade at Votech in Opelousas, T.H. Harris, and I got certified automotive mechanic. Got my first job at Service Chevrolet as a line mechanic with a good friend of mine, Mansell Jr.
Yeah.
Marshall, and we worked there. And that was about 45 to 50-minute drive every day from LeBeau to Lafayette.
Wow.
Yeah, and
So
worked on
literally
a
you
lot
were
there.
driving an hour there and an hour back,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah. We were carpooling with three of us. It was me and Marshall and Martin Richard. He was in Port Barry, another little town. We scoop
As you
him
were
up
passing
and
through.
we scoop him up, and yeah, we did that, man. Well, it was about 3 years I stayed there, and then the oil business took a nosedive back in the late '80s. And that town and that area is driven on the oil business back then heavily. And so at that time, our family would always have 4th of July was always a reunion at home. It was my parents' anniversary, wedding anniversary. They always gave a big shindig. you know.
Right.
And so my cousin that came down, which he had already moved to Houston, he was already working as in the construction industry. So it was a lot of my cousins and uncles. So he was a head foreman for one particular company. And they said, "Why don't you come on down and get away from the country a little while?" And my mom was like, she was against it because I'll probably get to the big city.
Right.
Like so many of our brothers and cousins,
Right.
you get to the big city, they didn't want to come back. So I did that, and that's how I ended up staying in Houston. And then
And she was right.
yeah, she was right. And with all the Creoles around the Houston area and outside areas would always go to the Catholic Church Hall dances. The Catholic Church Halls would always host a dance on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So like musicians like Boozoo Shavers Rock and Sidney the Dupsy, John Delafosse and the Franks, they would always come down and have a dance there, and they were playing, so we would always go, and that's where all the Creoles would meet, and and they always have gumbo, boudin. That was the main dish.
Right.
They have food, drinks,
Uh-huh.
and they dancing and whatnot. So I was just out.
You were just at
Boozoo.
home.
Yeah,
You were at home.
exactly. And Boozoo Shavers was real hot around that time. I mean, packing the place everywhere he went. I mean, he was packing the house, and I mean, he was amazing to see.
Yeah.
So that's just looking at him playing. That's what inspired me to play the accordion. And
And with the accordion, what I see is not just the playing of the accordion, but also the experience of the movement. You know what I'm saying? The performance, let's say.
the performance, yeah.
And that's what you saw in him.
Yeah,
his
He would
performance.
grace the stage and make it look interesting. I mean, his crowd ranged from, seniors to youths.
Yeah.
In the same setting.
In the same city, yeah.
And it was something to see, and that's what inspired me, and like I said, we was talking earlier, the music side was in my blood. My father, the late Wallace Chambers, was a guitarist. He played rock and roll and blues, and he was a drummer. So my mom sang in the choir, I got a baby sister sang in the choir. So the music was in the blood on my mom's maiden name side, the Chambers side. And so, the music, it was kind of natural, for the love of music.
Yeah, the love of music.
Yeah.
But the actual accordion that came along.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one in the family that I know of in the near family that played accordion. Yeah.
Let's see you in action. Let's look at a video.
Yeah. All right.
Gonna be
That's you.
Yes,
That's
sir.
you. That's you.
Yes, sir.
And it's gonna be a party. Where did that song come about?
On stage, just like about 90% of my catalog
Right.
came on stage. You know, songs, melodies come to you.
Just came on stage.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I was that night that song came to me. I was we were playing a show out in Navasota,
Wow.
Texas.
Navasota.
Yeah. And that night, it came to me. It's like, man, feeling around the corner in between another song.
Right.
I kicked it off, and my band jumped right on it.
Jump
The
right on
lyrics
it.
came to me right there and everything.
Wow. We also saw something interesting too. We had talked about it earlier. That's actually a washboard, scrub board.
Yeah, scrub board, washboard. You should wash
Whatever you want
clothes
to call
with.
it. That's what
Before there was a Maytag and a Whirlpool.
Right.
That was that washboard. And elbow.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Elbow action. Yeah, that's what you wash
What the
clothes
young man
on.
was playing.
Yeah, but
was
the
actually-
original one that had wooden corners on it. You
Right.
know? And this one right here, the late Clifton Chenier's brother, he played rub board. His name was Cleveland Chenier. Yeah, Clifton Chenier actually designed that rub board. He took it and drew it out
Wow.
on a piece of paper and gave it to someone at a sheet metal yard.
Right.
And they designed
that's
it
how
the way
he-
it had the straps on it just to hang on you freely.
Just to hang on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's how that came about.
Yeah, in French it's called fatwa.
Fatwa.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting instrument because everywhere you go, it's a lot of people think they can play that.
Think
want
they
to get
can
on
play
stage.
it.
Oh, let me do the spoons. Some people call it the
Right.
spoons.
Right.
So that's what you know. Most of you going to play with spoons or forks, the back
Right.
side of it. Yeah.
But you said something about it though. The actual sound of it.
The sound that's a rhythm. It's a percussion.
Percussion.
It's a percussion instrument.
Yeah.
A lot of drummers are they can play it real easy because they coordinate time.
Right.
And, it has a lot in common with the drum beat. Yeah.
Wow. But everybody loves that one.
Yeah. Everywhere we go, I mean, anywhere around the world, that's the first. That's what I like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the
It's
music
very
that
different.
goes with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's and a lot of people like how you describe Zydeco music. It's Zydeco is uplifting, happy music. That's the vibe you get from Zydeco music.
Right.
It's a party music. And the origins of it was just it was made. People gave house dances.
Right.
Back then in those days, there was no such thing as clubs. You couldn't go a lot of places we couldn't go.
Right.
We know that story.
Exactly.
So they would take out whatever little furniture they had in the house and gather up the community, and they'd have a dance in the house. And that's kind of another story from one of the songs I got. It was one of my biggest hits, signature song. It's called "Standing Room Only."
Right.
And in there, that was another made up. I made that one in the studio.
Right.
The lyrics came as pull back the tables,
Standing
take out the
room
chairs.
only. I remember that.
Yeah,
Yes.
pull back the tables, take out the chairs.
Yes.
Tonight
Everybody
we're
knows
gonna party
that.
like we don't care
Uh-huh.
in the house. Yeah.
And that came from you at that time, right? Wow. Standing room only.
Standing room only. Yeah.
Yes. Love that.
Yeah, that's always been a bell ringer for us.
It is,
Man. Yeah,
it is.
gets the party going.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, stepping on, everyone has asked about that. How did that come about?
Well, and that's kind of like, this was back in 95, 96 when I came up with this one. That was a part of my career where, you're coming into yourself and you're doing well, and then you find out, that, you really learn about what they call now haters or whatever.
Right.
And trials,
Right.
stepping stones and
Right.
and the song, when I started playing it, it just put me in the mind some things I'm looking in the crowd and I'm going through and it's like, I'm moving on no matter what, you know what I
Right.
mean? And that's why I call it stepping on, because with my first name being Step,
Yes.
I'm moving on no matter what, I'm
Right.
pushing through.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We were talking earlier about music and the business of it. And in Zydeco music business, it's jazz, R&B, just the music business in itself.
Right.
We had talked about it's about 10% music,
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
creativity and stuff.
Right.
90%, you got to know that business.
Yeah, you got to learn that business and most of the time you're going to learn it the hard ways.
Yes.
Fortunately, I was pulled to the side by, this is the biggest Zydeco song we ever had. This is a gentleman named Rockin' Sydney. Good Rockin' Sydney. The song called Don't Mess With My Toot Toot.
Right.
Okay, remember that song?
Right.
All right. He is from my hometown as well, Rideau, Louisiana. He was raised with my parents. They all went to school together and everything. And so he started out in rock and roll. You know, he did a little bit of the blues, a little bit of all that honky tonk, and then he switched over to Zydeco. And I had the privilege to, you know, have a conversation with him because he lived in Lake Charles, and I was in Houston at the time. And he pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, man, you might want to start recording, but you know, you need to learn the music business side of this.
Yeah.
You know, about owning your own rights and the royalties to your music and publishing." So that's when I started. I formed my own record label. So I've been on my own label since the beginning.
Since the beginning?
Yeah.
You've owned your own since the beginning?
Yeah. I have two partners that we formed the label together.
Right.
Yeah, and it's called Bridge Entertainment. And he taught me a lot of valuable, you know, things about, you know, the business,
right,
and having that in order.
Right.
It's like playing is nothing. He said you play a show tonight, and guess what? Everybody walked away tonight. They didn't forget about you.
Exactly.
You know,
that's true.
And because he had learned it, you know, he hadn't been through it all.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that because there's a lot of artists out there. Now, a lot of new artists also.
Yeah.
And just to understand that when COVID hit, and we're bringing that up again because February and March, of course, nobody had any shows. The royalties now have to kick in.
Yeah.
Your credits have to kick in somewhere. You know, you have to. There has to be some money coming from somewhere, or something. You know, or you want some money from somewhere. Right. So many artists that I saw really lost a lot because they couldn't afford it anymore.
Yeah. I know quite. You know, it got tough. It got tight.
I saw a lot of people.
You know, we went through some tough times there.
It really did.
I mean,
in the last year,
if you had something saved, you know, you were looking towards retirement one day, and you know, music business, you hardly ever retire.
Right,
you know what I mean? Because music is something that
it's in your blood. You're passionate about it.
It's part of your everyday life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's what it turns into if you really love it. So it was tough. It was ugly. You didn't know what to expect. I mean, we was in some uncharted waters there, and I mean, we didn't know where this thing was going.
Exactly.
And slowly now it's beginning to come
back
back.
Up,
yeah. But it takes a while to get that wheel turning again. That's what a lot of people, you know, really don't realize. It ain't a turn off and on switch.
Yes.
Promotions, you know, getting venues, getting promotions out, giving people time to make plans.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we can, you know, continue on a good path here and get back to normal.
Absolutely, I agree with that because, like you said, a lot of things just really came about during COVID.
Oh yeah.
Uncharted waters. We really didn't know.
Yeah, and royalties came in handy.
Yes.
Because everybody was sitting still. Okay, what to do?
Right.
Put some music on.
Right.
You know, what's new? Everybody, all of a sudden, no movies out. Nothing new. You got to go back and go in all the reruns. You know what I mean? Now you have to start thinking about, oh, man, you know, I really miss my music. I miss my entertainment.
Right.
You know? And coming from an artist, you know, I was sitting back looking at, you know, all the help coming in from everywhere in different entities. And I was like, man, music is on the back shelf.
Yes.
Entertainment is on the back shelf.
It was on the back
shelf.
And
that was what was needed the most at the time because everybody was just locked in.
Yeah.
You know, nothing to do.
Scared
to do anything. Didn't know what to do.
Right.
Didn't know what was safe.
Right.
You know, and here we are. Like I tell a lot of my friends, you know, we the last ones on the, but that's what it is. You know, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Because the joy that comes out of doing the passion that I have for music, you know, is worth it to me. I'm good.
Wow, wow. I'm telling you. Yeah. In looking at that, we had talked about also the fact about you using your own name in your band, being part of your band.
Yeah. Well, everyone knows me by Step.
Right.
You know, my grandfather gave me that nickname when I didn't know how small I was. And back then, you know, everybody had a nickname from my grandparents and a lot of my uncles and aunts. I mean, when they see you the first time, Mama comes home, hey, this is Stephen Joseph. Okay. All right, that's his name. Yeah, okay. Hey, Step. You know
that's the last time you heard the real name.
Right. And then they go on the school, teachers calling it, you know. Or when I was really in hot water, my mom would say, Stephen Joseph. I was like, oh, wow. You know what I mean?
You knew you were in trouble.
Yeah,
She'd say the whole name, Stephen Joseph.
Yeah. And then when she would really get with it, she's like, Stephon Joseph, because that's how it's really pronounced, but it's spelled the other way. And I was like, oh, man, what it is now. You knew what it was already.
You knew what it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
but
knew who it was.
I thought it was a catchy name for a stage name. Like I said, everyone knew me by it already.
Right, everybody knew.
Yeah, and it just, I just continue to use
I
it.
love the way you branded yourself. A lot of people need that.
Yeah,
And
and
they
I was
don't
doing it
realize
and
they're
didn't
a
know.
walking billboard.
I didn't know, and to be honest with you, when it all first started, I didn't, you just going in doing something you love, you just going through it and having fun doing it, and luckily you're building something behind you, you know what I
Right.
mean? And that's been an amazing part of my career. I've been blessed.
Yeah.
I really have.
I mean, the world knows.
Yeah,
You say Step Rideau, I mean, the world.
Yeah, and people now they know the name. A lot of people don't know the face, the
Right.
music, but they know the name in this city. That's what I tell you. They know the name because Magic 102 was playing me. I was the first Zydeco music to ever be on Magic 102. The first
Yes.
on 97.9 The Box.
Yes.
Was and so it was Walter D was on the 97.9 The Box. I never forget. It was on a Sunday, and they gave him 15 minutes to play Zydeco. Now a Zydeco song is probably about 10 minutes,
Exactly.
5 minutes, 6 minutes long.
Yeah.
So he was mixing, and that was a new thing then. He was mixing hip hop and all that stuff,
Right.
but nobody was mixing Zydeco because
Right.
the beat was all fast and it
Right.
was live drummers doing it.
Uh-huh.
So he started doing that, and man, look, it picked up things, and I mean, the listening audience was broad. So
Yes.
and that was a lot of credibility. Funky Larry, Magic 102, Candy Eastman, he had the morning show. I mean, we were rolling big, and it really steepled my name in the community.
Sounds good. We'll take a break and we'll be right back
All right.
on the Cam Hill Show.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages. The Cam Hill Show. If you'd like to advertise your business or become a sponsor, contact the Cam Hill Show at gmail.com.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. Ron Carter Cadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey family, we are back with Step Rideau. We were just talking a little bit about just the music in itself. We were talking earlier, how you actually got started, but to new artists, what do you think new artists need to do? Now that they're just coming back from COVID, it's kind of post-COVID, now we're coming out of it. And they've been at home for a long time, many of them working on music, trying to get it out. And then now they're ready.
Yeah. Well, they had a lot of time to polish up the craft.
Right.
And I hope that they learned a valuable lesson about, the business side of music.
Right.
How to produce yourself, everything from publishing,
Right.
the rights and royalties to your music. Had a lot of downtime to learn a lot and understand, how important it is.
Contracts.
Contract, learning that first. If you don't understand it, get some representation to definitely go over contracts and deals and music collaboration deals.
Absolutely.
because it's like I said, when you weren't able to go out and perform, if you had some royalties coming in, it came in handy. You know, so
absolutely.
That's my advice to them. And if you getting in this business, you know, take it serious. You know, treat you know, be true to the craft.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know,
true to the
you
craft.
love doing it for fun or whatever, but still, there's a lot of us out here do this for a living.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and so treat it that way. You know, that's it.
I love what you said earlier, though, is that when people invited you to sit in, you know, many of us say, well, how much we going to get? Instead of sitting in for the experience.
For the experience, that's what I was able to get. You know, we had the late Wilfred Chavis. He was playing a lot around here. Willie Davis was playing around here. The late Paul Richard. All these guys are going on now.
Right.
Even got one guy, Bontel Mickey, he's still around. You know, when I first started, he's like, come on and sit in, you know. And and they all offered me, you know. And even when Boozoo came to town, that was like, you go get on the big stage now. You know, now you finna get in front of, you know, 400, 500 people in a dance hall. And he would let me up there 2 or 3 songs and boom. But, you know, I always respected those guys, you know. And I always carried myself with respect. And I was taught that, you know, that was the ultimate thing. You know?
Absolutely.
And then in the music, as far as the Zydeco music, like I said, it was family-oriented music. That was the first thing, you know. You know, there was young and old together. The kids learned through being around the parents, grandparents. You know, so respect was the big issue there. It was like, you're going to behave yourselves like, you know, when, you know, you got your Sunday best on all the time. So, and being able to sit in and get your feet wet. You got experienced bands there that's backing you up, make you sound good, and you hope you learn something, you know, through every experience.
But the good part about it, you knew about the sound, being on time. You know, just different things like that. You know?
You learn that, and I observed a lot of different artists, you know, in the business. I learned a lot of do's and don'ts being in the audience. I learned
That's what
a
you
lot.
were saying. I
learned
love
a lot
that.
from what the audience we out and, you know, listening to a band, and you get to hear what they like and don't like. Or when a band takes a break, or when a band switches in Zydeco, we switch a certain type of accordion. You know, and that's what I play, the diatonic, the button accordion. See, a lot of guys play the piano accordion. Well, that Clifton Chenier one made that piano accordion popular. But everybody couldn't play that accordion and make it appealing like Clifton would. So even like with Boozoo Chavis with the button accordion, he made it, I mean, he mastered it and made it look cool. You know what I mean? And so you would hear all the little things that the you know, audience, the fans liked and didn't like by the other groups, and I just took the do's and don'ts, and I was like, yeah, I understand why they don't like this, they don't like that, so I tried to incorporate it.
So you're sitting in the audience, you hear the other people in the audience of what they don't like and what they do like of the actual bands. You pick that up, you change yourself and your band, make sure of the things they liked.
That's right. And that's how I narrowed my path. Man, and it was, you know, I was observant, and it's history from there. You know? That's a true brand. That's how you brand yourself. And it's all the work of the man upstairs. You know what I mean? He had his hand all over me. You know, he had his hands all over me. Still has. You know, I'm so grateful.
Because you've been doing this full time all that time.
Yeah, I've been doing this now full time since '92. Because like I said, when I first came here, I was working construction. Then when I started my band, I had to make a choice because I got popular. Start getting booked every weekend, 3 times, 4 times a weekend, sometimes 5, 6 times a weekend.
This is Sunday too. You trying to get Monday? It's like, no, we can't. Too tired, and man, you're leaving at 3 and 4 in the morning.
In the morning, and getting home and getting back up at 6 in the morning. Traveling to wherever, and a couple times I was tardy, and man, it came in like, Rideau, get a couple more times, and I was working hard, man. You know, I'm like, all this hard work I've done, and I can't be late. You know, but my dad already had taught me. They said, you can be the best worker in the world. I don't care how good you are, but if you ain't here, you're no good to me.
That's
you ain't on the job. He always taught us that.
You
could be, some people like, oh, I'm good enough to come in at the 9th hour. No, if you ain't here, you're a bad example you're setting for everybody else. So I knew all that, and that's when I made my decision. I'm like, well, time to buy out. Got out, and thank God I didn't. You know, I haven't have to have a full-time job since.
And then just knowing just the travel. Just traveling. Because the other thing too, and that's what I love about you, the other thing too is that you made sure your band had the money.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know they had families.
Oh yeah. And that's
and I'm
my
sure
thing.
many times
Yeah,
you
been
had to
times
cut yourself.
I had to cut myself, and sometimes I still do to make
Yeah.
things work. Sometimes you
Right.
gotta, do things to just make things work and
Right.
get through it. And trying to make 5 or 6 people understand something is hard sometimes. Like,
Absolutely.
I get it, I understand it, I'll take the hit.
Exactly. And they got families.
Right, and for us to get to the other side, because it's,
Right.
it's greater
There
on the
is
other
another
side.
side. That's
It's
right.
greater on the other side.
It
you
is.
know. And
investing in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you've come. I know you've been with some promoters, and they did not pay you what they said, or you get there and it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
I'll talk you down on
Talk-
what you
exactly.
worth. You know what I mean? That's gonna always be. Like I tell
Right.
anybody, negotiating is the biggest
Yeah.
piece to this. And knowing the market where you fit in at, value of wherever, and so all those things right there, man. It's a full-time job.
It is a
you know.
full-time job.
It is. A lot of people look at it like, that's all you do. I'm like, well, come do it.
It's a full-time job. It's a full-time job.
That's all you do. I'm like, yeah.
No, but it's a full-time
It
job.
is. It is because, and it's like, and it's ownership.
Yeah.
Like anybody else own any other kind of company.
Yeah.
You lay down at night, all the responsibility is on
It
you.
is.
No matter, you got things delegated to this and that and the other.
Right.
But it's when at the end of the buck stops with you. You're gonna.
Because that's your name.
Yes, your name. That's your brand, and that's your livelihood.
That's your
That's your legacy.
That's your legacy, and
Yeah.
then, like I said, you have other families
Yeah.
that you're
Oh, yeah.
dealing with.
Oh, yeah.
As far as your
Yeah.
band members,
Band
they have
members.
families,
Yep.
and they've got to feed them too.
Yes, sir. And I always.
You want that to,
And I always try to, have the best musicians around. My
Exactly.
drummer right now, John Paul Jolivet, he's been with me now for going to be 25 years in February.
Wow.
Yeah.
25
Dedicated hard
years.
worker, yeah. And always kept a job as well.
He always kept a job as well,
Yeah.
and
that's
then played
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
on time.
On time, all the time. He's the perfect example of a bandmate, a friend,
Right.
you name it, man. This dude is awesome, man. I mean, he's respected all over the globe.
He is.
Yeah, and he's, I don't know if you got time to tell me
Yeah.
this story. We were
Right.
playing on 59. This was years ago.
Right.
And we had recorded the Stepping On album.
Yes.
So this album is playing, this couple songs playing on 97.9 The Box.
Uh-huh.
So someone like Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top hears that record
Right.
on 97.9 The Box. I'm like, what's ZZ doing listening to The Box?
He
you know?
listened to Z. That tell you.
Jake, right. He found out what we were playing. He walks into this club on 59, and we were in there playing. And I'm looking, I seen him. I never met him in
Did you know
person.
who he was?
But I just knew that one guy with a beard like that. I'm looking, that ain't him. I'm playing, and I'm looking at the door over there. I'm like, I can't
You know
be
that
here.
guy's not from ZZ Top.
Right. And I'm playing. Finally, we took a break. Something I very seldom do.
Right.
We took a break.
Right.
Took a break, went by the bar. He comes up. Hey, Step Rideau, yeah, Billy Gibbons. I said, I thought it was you. I never met you for my pleasure, blah, blah, blah. See, I'm here for one reason. He said, that song, T-Black. He said, is that a drum machine or a drummer? I said, that's the drum machine right there, the live drummer. And that was my drummer that I have right now. He said, him and they had a debate. Was that a live drummer or a live drum machine?
Right.
That's how perfect his timing is.
Uh-huh.
And they came to settle that score. And we became friends after
Right.
that, yeah. And we bumped into one another a couple of times after, And
That is, he came to the place.
he found out where I was and came, introduced himself, and
He
settle
wanted
the
to
score.
know that one thing.
One thing was that the drummer
Or a drum
or
machine.
drum machine, because the timing was perfect, and that's what he's known for. He's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something. That's something. Where did you all meet? The two
Oh
of you all meet?
man, it's amazing.
Because being with somebody 25 years.
Right. We were playing downtown at a festival in front of, I can't think of the name of the park, but it's right in front of City Hall, right on the backside of City Hall.
Uh-huh.
It's right down that hill slope there, right
Right.
across from the library.
Uh-huh.
They had a big stage out there. We were playing, me and some other Zydeco groups. I think might have been Bojack and Boozoo, Buckwheat. And he was playing with another group, but they had him on rub board. And we met there first.
Right.
And I thought nothing of it.
So he played rubboard.
Yeah. And see, I told you the similarities between
Right,
the
with the
percussions.
drummers.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
uh-huh.
And the guy didn't know what value he had right there. So at that time, I had this guy is well known now. As a matter of fact, he started in my band as a drummer, J. Paul Jr.
J. Paul did.
J. Paul came, that's right. I'm the one that discovered J. Paul
Right.
and brought him into my band as a drummer.
Uh-huh.
He was a drummer. He was playing drums in church with
Yeah.
his dad. So I brought him in. They were playing for me at that time.
Right.
And we had recorded the first CD together. And at that time, J. Paul had felt like he wanted to learn how to do Zydeco himself. So he went on and started getting lessons from different people about the accordion.
Right.
So finally, he decided he was going to get his own band. And John Paul, my drummer now, looked on the back of a cassette we had, the first CD, first cassette.
Cassettes.
Yes, there was the one called Here Comes Step Rideau.
Right.
He seen the phone number on the back. He calls me, left the name on the recorder. Hey, his name is John Paul Zydeco, blah, blah, blah. I want to know when y'all was going to put another CD out. I called him back. I said, matter of fact, we're not going to put another one out with this group, but I will put another project out. But we won't be with these same guys,
right?
Because they're about to go on their own way.
Right.
They said, well, I played drums too. I said, I kind of thought so. So I brought him in, and we started woodshedding together, practicing together, and auditioned him and another drummer. And I knew straight off the top he was the one.
Right.
And that's how we got started together.
Wow.
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
He has had it, still had a job playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome guy. Yeah.
My God. 25 years. That's something. That's something.
Yeah, man.
As we looked at everything, and we were talking different of Cajun and Creole, there's a difference. There's a difference.
Yes, there is. You know, it's the difference. Like in color, black and white. It's a difference, you know. Cajun, it's more, you know, it's Cajun, Caucasian. It's their way of doing a lot of things. The music, it's different. The music is more of a acoustic sounding type, you know. With the Creole, it was more the influence of the blues,
right?
The jazz, you know, all the other backgrounds of music. You hear it all in it. And that was the big distinction between the two.
Right.
You know.
Right. A lot of people have asked that question about that. As we're looking at the different ones, we were talking about the fact that you're self-taught. You decided to do this on your own. You decided to go into your own band. And you've become successful with it. How do you think that, let's say it this, why do you think your music is so timeless? It stays. I mean, we can play something from back in the 90s. People remember and start dancing.
Yeah, and that's something.
That's the beauty of that.
It's a beauty. It's a good luxury.
Yes.
To have, you know. It's just my makeup. You know, the type of music I like. You know, I listen to all types of music. I'm heavy on R&B, old school R&B, blues. You know, it's old school rock and roll. You know, the yesteryears. That's what you know. And like I said, being raised around music all the time, and I think that's, you know, just my makeup. I'm a type of a guy. I'm a perfectionist in a lot of areas. You know, I'm a big critic of my own. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So. And I always try to, you know, keep it interesting for someone, the younger generation, you know, close enough on the borderline, you know, to where they want to, you know, feel like it's cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? And to keep them connected with the old audience.
And Zydeco, it seems, and we were just talking about that too, just like you were saying, where you go to the dances, young and older together.
Yeah. Yeah.
The music, young and older together.
Yes.
Always, even now.
Yes. And, you know, like we were talking about earlier, you know, like, another, for instance, like the line dances. Yes. You know, that's something that, you know, most of the ladies look forward to getting up to dance. You know, back, you know, there's a lot of guys doing it now. But once upon a time, it was ladies. That was ladies. The Harlem Shuffle, that was big back in the day. And, I mean, the bands would play, and the Zydeco bands had to learn the Harlem Shuffle. Back in the day. Because, you know, give them a break from the regular two-stepping dances. Exactly. And they all, because everybody didn't have a dance partner. Right. You know. Right. So, it's, you know, the music has so many ingredients in it, like you say when you're making gumbo. Exactly. You know, you put a little bit of everything in there. So it just pulls people in from all different, you know, walks of life.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll take a break and we'll be right back on the Cam Hill Show.
Yeah.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages. The Cam Hill Show. If you'd like to advertise your business or become a sponsor, contact the Cam Hill Show at gmail.com.
Move up. up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, thank you so much. We are back with Mr. Step Rideau. We were talking about Zydeco. We were also talking a little bit about the youth. Youth are in Zydeco. They love it.
Yes.
They love the music.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of young kids even learning to play music. You know?
Exactly.
You know, it's like I was telling
You
you
were
about
talking
my
about
drummer.
your grandson.
Yeah, about my drummer. It's my little godson. He's 7 years old. He's
Yeah.
been playing since he was 3. And he gets back there. He gets the crowd. He gets an applause everywhere he goes. And sometimes I can't even tell if it's different between him or his dad because he's a very attentive kid, very smart.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an awesome little drummer.
If we look at this and we just just talking to parents, if parents, they hear it and they hear the gift, maybe, children, and they say, you know what, he may have something, and hone in on that, because a lot of children are so talented.
Right. And, and that's another thing I think we didn't touch bases on. That was the good thing about in my career. When I came in, there were a lot of older artists, in Zydeco. There wasn't that many young groups playing. There was one other group local around here was Brian Terry and Zydeco Travis out of Barrack Station, Crosby. And, man, being, not to say judged by them, but, they were old professionals.
Right.
If you can come in and you get an okay from them, and you're on the right path. So I think that was one of the main things that really helped mold and put me in the right path, right direction to get guidance from, being observant, but, still getting the okay from them. Like, hey, man, you got something.
Right.
Right. And I get it all the time. They would tell me, hey, man, keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. He said, just keep doing it. I'm like, really? He said, you're doing something good. He said, people talking. I said, really? Okay. And that was encouragement,
I think also being a great student.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You were able to sit in. You were able to pick up. You were able to get the experience and being humbled by it.
Yeah, being humble. Yeah, you got to be a student of the game.
Yeah.
And I get parents now that little kids come around, they be like, kids want to come up and get on the road board. They infatuated about how this accordion work, how this work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we've seen some come in as kids. Now they're grown, they're playing in bands.
Wow.
Yeah, in Zydeco bands. Quite a few.
Quite a few playing in Zydeco bands.
I remember when they were born.
Really?
Yeah, they came to Dancing Cradle. And now they're grown men,
Right.
and I've seen them the whole way.
Wow. Because these are festivals, rodeos. These are all different events that you're playing in.
Yeah. Man, I can tell you a quick story about the rodeo since you said the rodeo.
Yeah.
Mr. Joe Bruno. He was he was on the committee back in the day that used to livestock show.
Right.
The rodeo, the Black Heritage Committee.
Right.
And he's a rodeo guy.
And
he's like, he wanted to bring Zydeco into the rodeo. He wanted to incorporate it.
Yeah.
And they were like pulling back, I don't know about that. So one night, Gladys Knight and Kool and the Gang were playing in the Astrodome. He fought to get me in there. Got me in there. brought me and the band in. You know, Gladys Knight and Kool and the Gang, they on this big rotisserie type stage, just big, you know, they the big stars.
Yeah.
So they get us to play in between switching the bands.
Right.
So they bring us in on a little trailer.
Right.
A little float.
Right.
Put us there. We sound checked early. We got it. And we kicked off. And so many people remember from that performance too as well. That was in the 90s. When we kicked off, everybody in the stadium stood up when the Zydeco came on. And man, that did so much for my career. And he was like, see, he was trying to, you know, Zydeco belong in mainstream.
It does.
You know,
it does.
And he was pushing for a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think about it now, Zydeco?
Oh, it's with the social media and the networking of the world. I think it's on its way to the major platform.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
A lot of young artists in it.
I know there's line dancing.
Yeah, line dancing.
With Cupid
you got
and stuff.
Cupid. Got Cupid. He incorporates Zydeco into it. He sings it in the Cupid Shuffle. You know, and you know, all the line dances and the swing out type of dances. He's a good choreographer. He's a great artist, great singer.
Yes.
And he's, you know, people like that get these big breaks. And because that song, we took a vacation years when it first came out. We in Florida, laying up on the resort. My wife and the kids. We laying, and that was something very seldom I would do, take a vacation.
Right.
Finally, we just wiped out a whole week. We laying there on the resort, just chilling. All of a sudden, Cupid Shuffle comes on. I'm like, wait, what is going on?
Right.
They were playing it then.
Yes.
And that song just came out. So and then we were on a cruise. We hear it on there. So you know, that's all over the world. So Zydeco,
all over the world.
You know, yeah, and I think it's on its way to the national stage. You know.
Yes.
Once we had a category for Zydeco in the Grammys, but they took the category away, and now they share it with the Zydeco and Cajun, and they put it with like a folk and world music type of category.
Really.
So. There's a few more things need to be done, you know, to get our category back. But the world I don't think they can hide us too much longer.
Trust me, they can't hide you long. Yeah. They can't hide you long.
Yeah. So
you guys are doing great.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you all have really been you've done a lot, really, for the world.
Yeah, I'm grateful. Yeah, man, it's
just looking at your career.
Yeah,
you know,
I've been blessed. I must say, I've been blessed. Hands down.
What have you learned along the way? So much.
I learned, and there are a lot of reinforcement. You know, a lot of things you lessons that you were, you know, the childhood lessons that came into full circle. You know, being the honesty, hard work, dedication. Right. You know, and just treating people with dignity and respect. Right. You know, that's the biggest thing. We're not looking at everything in today's society is just, you know, find a way to respect mankind. Right. You know. Isn't that something? Yeah. That we're having a hard time even doing that part. Yeah. You know, I got here just like you got here. Exactly. You know, come on. We bleed like you bleed. You know what I'm saying? It's just so crazy. Yeah. How that happens. Yeah, it's, you know, sharing is a hard thing to learn. Yeah. I learned it, you know, in my upbringing. You know, you had to share. Absolutely. You know what I mean? It wasn't my room, my this. No, we're all in this room. Yes. You know. Well, we're going to leave some last words. Look into that camera right there. The last words you want to leave with the viewers, and then social media, your social media information. Yeah, I want to first say thank you, Cam, for inviting me here to your show. It's been an awesome experience. I have utmost respect for what you're doing. Keep doing what you do. And I want my fans to know I appreciate them from the beginning of time until now and moving forward. You know, I really appreciate all the support, and continue to follow us on social media, on Facebook, on the fan page, Step Rideau and the Zydeco Outlaws. Also have the personal page, Step Rideau. And also on Instagram, @Step Rideau. You follow us there. We're going to be posting all up and coming shows. We got some new music, some collaborations coming out with some artists that you're going to be like, what? Y'all teamed up? Yeah, it's coming. I promise you, it's coming. It's in the making, and probably in another week we're going to drop a single that we've been playing out on the shows, and people have been requesting it a lot. So. Sounds good, my friend. Yeah. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, man. Thank you for everything you've done all these years for us. Thank you for just being you. Thank you. Appreciate you for accepting me. Bye.
Appreciate you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, thank you, everyone. The Cam Hill Show, 12:31, 30 Central Standard Time. See you then. Bye.